Vampires P.
What would happen if a normal human being decided to go on a diet of whole blood for a long time? As you guessed it, nothing good. They'll probably die of iron toxicity, and iron toxicity hallmarks include severe dehydration, kidney failure, and something called hemochromatosis. In today's video, we're going to be exploring the anatomy of vampires, metabolism, and essentially what makes vampires tick. I mean, what makes them last so long? Stick around, let's go. Starting with Twilight, the Cullens are not like the unlicensed vampires in that they are said to be bloodless, or not necessarily bloodless, but they don't have a heartbeat, they don't have no pulse, they're pale, the skin is very hard and shiny like diamonds, as as reference of Edward trying to show Bella his vampire nature by coming out of the sun in the forest. That scene. But the whole issue with this is that they have no pulse, meaning no blood flow, but somehow they're able to survive, okay? And the only practical mechanism that I could think of that would cause this is if, let's assume the virus or the venom of the vampire, the first vampire in the Twilight universe, was like a virus, okay? And instead of killing the infected persons, it would weaponize or strengthen the phospholipid barriers of their cells, such that every cell in the body of this human, soon to be vampire, becomes super stronger, and for whatever reason, this gives them supernatural abilities. It does. Okay, I don't fully understand the mechanism yet, but this is by far its reach. For dummies, this easily translates to venom causes cell density increase via the cell membrane equals Edward. Let's start with Anne Rice's Immortal Universe. Now, in the Immortal Universe, particularly in the Vampire Lestat, which is essentially the third book in the third series, we see Daniel and Lestat pee what is seen as like reddish, thickened urine. It's strange. It's awful. It's weird. But my theory is, or what medically makes sense, is that the bodies are like ultra filtration machines. Like normal humans, when we take in food, water, whatever we're taking in, the kidneys obviously have the ultra filtration function, but the capillaries of the kidneys, which help in the filtration, they are fenestrated to a point. And I don't recall their diameter. Fenestration is like holes, for the fluid to pass through, but it's not big enough for your red blood cell of standard size 7 to 8 micrometers to pass through. So it is impossible for a human to excrete blood, except maybe you have maybe some damage to these glomeruli, or there are different things that can cause hematuria. But for a vampire, like the unlicensed vampire, let's say Lestat for example, to pee blood like what we see, it means that his kidneys must be so hyperfunctioning, and the capillary is so much damaged, or not necessarily damaged, so wide that red blood cells or pigments of red blood cells can escape through without necessarily damaging his body mechanism. Essentially, the whole theory here is that vampires in the unlicensed universe are ultra metabolizers of blood. Okay, so they rapidly take in what is needed, maybe the nutrients from the blood, and then they excrete the excess iron so much as not to cause iron overload, because there is no logical sense in which a vampire, even away from the fact of being human and all that, can take in so much iron and not develop the same neurological effects as would accompany a human being. But there's a caveat. The caveat is the part that the brain should be affected, because in a racist universe, we see that some vampires like Louis and Lestat can have their heads decapitated and last for hours. So it does bring into question if this theory would work for them. But obviously, I said something about a caveat, right? And the brain is a caveat. So in both Unlicensed Universe and Twilight Universe, there's an issue. The issue is the brain. Obviously, with the last season, or the Vampire Lestat, or the third season of Interview with the Vampire, we see the decapitation of heads and they cease to vibe, which is bizarre, but bizarre is what we're used to these days. But in Twilight, it is strange because they have no heartbeat, they have no pulse, so there's no blood flow. And if there's no blood flow, how is the brain surviving? It does not make sense. But the only possible idea I can think of is if maybe in Twilight's universe now, because I don't believe this theory works perfectly for Anne Rice's universe, because in Anne Rice's universe, we see that when the vampires get old, as witnessed by Akasha in TVL, or the Vampire Lestat, been mummified. I mean, Enkel is dead; he's like a stone. But Akasha was like a figurine initially, but you know, she sort of kind of melted her way out. But anyways, in Twilight, I believe that maybe when they take blood, the brain creates new tissues, like neurogenesis, that's almost instantaneous. And in doing so, when they stop taking blood, this new tissues sort of nourish the brain, keep the brain on until the next feeding time. And obviously, we've seen that even in both universes, the hunger for blood, when starved for a long time, can be extreme. So that makes most sense to me, but I still could not figure out how it works in the essentially, because the instant neurogenesis is not, I mean, nerve cells are not, they don't make themselves, they're not made instantaneously. It takes time. And it just does not make sense to assume instant neurogenesis. But this is, okay.